Christian in the house, man. It's big deal.
Man, I miss you, brother.
Miss you, man. Yeah. We all grew up.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
we're all.
You guys know each other already?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we used to do young adult ministry together.
Yeah.
Well, I would be young adult pastor here at Patria. He was young adult pastor at the Way.
Yep.
Now I think you're like pretty much like, running things. You know.
I do what I can.
You preaching like every other weekend. It looks like, you know.
Yeah, we actually were just counting like.
Thank you so much.
Oh, wow.
Been on a preaching spree this past week. Probably 9 different sermons.
Let's go, big dog.
Dude.
Heavy.
That's awesome.
But
Yeah.
praise the Lord.
When Christian, their church used to be, they were at this small little like Hispanic church or something like that originally. Now the Way is this massive church movement. But this was over a decade ago. He asked me to come speak at like his young adult. Was the first one young adult night?
Yeah, the first time ever it was young adults.
Okay, it was young because I was in that room a few times. Sometimes for youth, sometimes for young adult.
Yep.
But it was a young adult night, and campus was small, and at the time there was probably, I don't know, a few dozen young adults. I mean, maybe 50. Maybe. And the church itself was a few hundred people, and now it's like over 50 million people or something like that. It's what it feels like. But that's how far back.
And that was one of your first times. I think you said that you were.
Like, did an itinerant, or maybe like guest speak at something? Yes, it would have been one of the first.
Yeah, one of the first.
The first was a backcountry desert youth group with 6 students. And the head volunteer was an ex-Satanist, like this woman. Yeah. That was my first.
Was nice, huh?
Yeah. The honorarium was like $50. It was on a
Capri
check.
Sun.
Yeah. So I never cashed it.
A couple scratchers.
I spent more money to get out there because I brought like 3 youth students with me, so I took them to lunch and gas and all that. And I looked at the check. I'm like, I'm not cashing this. It's not gonna. And they came and they're like, we scrapped everything to pay you.
That's beautiful.
I'm like, I'm not cashing this check.
That's
great.
Yeah. Thanks for joining us, guys.
Thanks for having us.
So this is a special episode. We don't know where it's going to go. We'll see, because there's a lot of people at the table. And let me do quick introductions. Normally, Beyond the Letter, we jump, like, we're already in it. We're already jumped, like, with me talking about my story. I would already just started talking to y'all, and then I would have done an introduction later. But because there's so many of us, thought we do introductions now so everybody knows, okay? So Sammy on the pod, who we all know regularly, he's putting together this dope young adult night, for us, for Patria in the Inland Empire. And then Sammy had this dope idea, like actually it was over a year ago.
Yeah.
And then it was like, let's put that on ice. Let's see what happens. And then, kind of came to fruition more so 6 months ago. Yeah. And so we're going to be holding this this young adult night that really wants to like cultivate a space for young people for the entire region. And so we thought, okay, if we all to get together and hear from like some of the best Next Gen preachers and someone at OG who has been in Next Gen for over 10 years, Christian. It's like, who would be the right people? So at the table, these are also individuals sharing on September 5th, preaching. But we have Alan from One and All in the house. Here. And then we got Vivi from Sandals, who I'm good friends with your pastor, by the way. I don't know if you know that, Pastor Matt. Yeah, we're good friends. We hang out. Yeah, we'll have to snap a picture at the end, And then we got Christian from the Way, who's done young adult, but you're not. You guys have a young adult pastor now, right? Or are you still holding it down?
I'm still holding it.
He's still holding it down. You know how he does it.
I'm sitting in the church
holding it.
I had a feeling he did. I just didn't want to. I just didn't want to assume. Like,
no, you know how the Way goes. The Way's like, hey, you've been doing great. Let me give you 5 other things, but keep holding it down, big dog.
No. We have a great team. I'm just there as overseeing
the
pastor.
Oversight. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So team's running it.
Yeah. But I serve as a campus pastor of our main location, our Hallmark campus. That's
the
my
Hallmark.
role.
That's the paper role.
Yeah.
The campus pastor plus anything else, not everything else. You got a great team, but yeah. Okay, so still oversighting young adults at the Way.
Yep.
So we have basically West Covina represented. Is that where?
San Dimas is our main location.
Is it San Dimas? It's not West Covina?
West Co too. We got that campus as well.
Oh, there's a West Covina campus.
Yeah.
Okay, I just assumed by the time you go past Lehigh Pacific University, it goes into
all
West
West
Covina.
Co.
Yeah, but it's
Yeah,
not.
it's
It's
yeah.
considered San Dimas, so
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
where HQ is.
That's where HQ is.
Okay.
Our office is, yeah.
Yeah, because there's a one in all in Rancho, and
Yeah.
there's a bunch everywhere, right?
Yeah.
So HQ though, San Dimas.
San Dimas, and that's where I'm at.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we have San Dimas represented.
Yeah.
Then we have Riverside,
Yep.
San Bernardino,
Mm-hmm.
and then last but not least, the Beyond the Letter regular that everybody has missed for over a year, because Chelsea was, our creative director and a bunch of other things, and our young adult pastor and everything. But then she went off to win Big Brother.
Yeah.
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 And so went and won last year. You were gone.
Mm-hmm.
You and I had spoke. I said, "Oh, you might be gone 30 days.
Might be gone 3 months.
They might vote you out." And then you end up going to October or whatever.
To October.
You leave
Left
in June.
July 4th.
Yeah.
And came back October 15th.
And then won the entire
And then
Big
won the
Brother.
whole thing. Yeah.
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 Let's
So
go.
we
I didn't even know that.
yeah.
Spoiler.
Yeah, right?
I watched last season.
Yep.
So everyone who knows Beyond the Letter, Chelsea was one of the OGs who started this with us, and so was a regular weekly. She was on the pod weekly, and then obviously went and did Big Brother, and now she travels all over the world and is doing everything that she's doing busy wise.
Awesome.
So it was let's grab Chelsea,
Yeah.
for Patria to on our behalf, because she was our real last young adult pastor at this point. And so then it was and then Sammy was like, well, I'm going to ask her if she'd come on the podcast. I'm like, good luck. How busy she is. She might be in New York or something right now, but she's here.
I'm
Look at the
here.
Lord.
I'm
Look
so
at
glad
God.
to be
Come
back.
on.
So the OG regular in the house. Yeah. And then there's a new Big Brother going on right now, right?
Yeah, there's a new season happening right now.
Okay. Let me fix your mic.
Oh, thank you.
It's,
It's been a while. It's been a
you used
while.
to be, you
Used to be
used to have that
professional at this.
unlocked. Yeah.
She said TV only.
Yeah.
Now she has someone do it for her.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, there's a new season on, and then there will be a new project that I'll be on in a week. They'll announce it.
Oh, no way.
That happened right after Big Brother, so it's been a whirlwind of it.
And so it's going to be it's big.
It's pretty big.
It's like Big Brother equal.
Bigger.
It's bigger than Big Brother.
Yeah.
I wish you could see your face, Trace.
Big
I
Brother.
wish I
Brother.
could share,
It's
but
Bigger
I can't.
Brother.
yet.
It's Bigger
She
Brother.
can in a week.
I can in 1 week.
Oh, shoot. But by the time this podcast comes out,
It'll
it would have
probably
been
be
out.
out.
Well, this
Possibly.
podcast doesn't come out for 3 weeks, I don't think, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah,
check
a few
it out
weeks.
now.
However Sammy's asking it to be prioritized, it might come out before.
In a few weeks.
It's
Just tell
definitely
us
not
Oh,
when.
then
coming
I'll
out.
share. Yeah, so I'll be on Amazing Race with my dad. This next season
Let's
airing
go.
in September.
And that's not the bigger thing.
that is
bigger.
the bigger thing.
Let's go.
Yes.
No, Amazing Race is
Whoa.
a
It's
global.
global.
Yeah, it's
thing, right?
global.
Yeah.
So is it
Yeah.
a Big Brother Amazing Race or?
Yeah, so
Whoa.
that season is nothing but Big Brother players and a loved one. So
that's cool.
yeah, it challenged me and my dad's relationship a lot.
Wow.
But yeah, we'll be on that
Did
this
it
next
really?
season.
Is it done?
Oh,
Yeah.
is it done?
Yeah, we filmed the whole thing.
Okay.
And we filmed 2 months after I got out the Big
Oh
Brother
my gosh,
house.
so
Oh,
fun.
wow. And we can't ask stuff,
I
but
just
I
got
will.
goosebumps.
You can't ask what I placed or anything like that.
But I can
No.
read you really quick. Let me see.
Like she's here. She wasn't able to come, but
Christian's
now she
the
is.
deliverance guy, so he might be able to. He might be able to
Discern.
He'll just be
I
able
think,
to.
lips are sealed.
I feel good. I think she did pretty good.
I feel good. I got a feeling.
I feel it.
But yeah.
How long are you able to share? How long you guys were gone for that project? Or
for 27 days, they filmed for 30, and we went to 8 countries in
Oh, dang.
26
Oh, my
days.
gosh.
It's pretty good.
So we did a lot of travel.
That's
yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
are you
Do the
able to
math.
talk about you and your dad's dynamic in it?
It was absolutely terrible in the beginning because he didn't know how to just be teammate.
Yeah.
He was just Dad, and he's a firefighter, so he's a captain.
Oh.
So he's yelling at me the whole race,
it's
the
a test.
wrong things.
Yes, sir.
And I'm like, I am going to leave you on this race and run by myself. And
I've
the
seen it.
What was more psychologically exhausting, Amazing Race or Big Brother?
Big Brother.
Oh, okay.
Big Brother
Well,
was.
you're locked in a cubicle, right?
You're locked in a house for
Yeah.
90 days with no technology, no nothing, and you can't leave. So you rarely get any sunlight. We went outside maybe 2 days a week.
What the?
Oh, wow.
So it was fluorescent lights 24/7.
Wait, so then how was it coming back to technology after doing no 90 days?
I was like, ugh, get this away from me. Yeah, it was
But then
so
they're
nice.
also you're now famous, so you need to be on your phone
on every 2
day.
seconds.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
it's the worst. But Amazing Race was a better experience because
Wow.
you're outside,
Yeah.
talking to people. And you get to do the most insane things.
Yeah.
So,
fire.
but
That's fun.
I'm tired to say the least. But I'm so excited to be
What,
back here.
what was your
Okay.
favorite nation you went to? Can you say that?
No, I can't. You trying to get me to spill everything, bro?
I've traveled.
Yeah, but
I'm just
part of the
wondering.
race, I think, is
you
that
can't say it.
is that they don't know each week, right?
Yeah,
like you don't
each-
know each couple days where you're going.
You don't know.
bring your
You
passport
rip
holiday.
a
Right
you
at the
literally
end.
rip a clue and you open it and it says hop in a taxi and travel to.
So that's
XYZ.
real. Like there's
That's
no.
real. They
okay.
throw you in the middle of a different country
Wow.
and say survive.
Good luck.
Yeah, that
Yes.
was like my missional experience too. But I was a part
But
of my
there
own.
wasn't like a financial
No.
gain
It
on
was,
the
just,
other
it was
side.
like it
No
was.
prize money involved.
It was the amazing journey.
Yes.
But it was
Yeah.
it was
I
like
love that.
funded
The
by
amazing
myself.
mission.
Wow.
Yeah, you
That's beautiful.
understand.
It was
That's
crazy. I don't
beautiful.
understand it. You know?
yeah, exactly.
So, yeah,
That's exciting.
Yeah.
How cool.
Yeah.
But that happened like months and months and months ago. It's just coming out now.
It's
though.
just coming out now, yeah.
Yeah.
We
So
filmed-
you were.
I've been done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you came back from Big Brother and left relatively.
Right after that, went straight into casting and then had 2 months of rest and then we were back on the road.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
Wouldn't
crazy.
recommend it, but we did it. And
But you got to do with your dad, which
With
is
my dad.
which is cool.
yeah,
You know.
yeah. So,
Yeah.
but literally leading up to the race, he's calling me every day on the treadmill, like, you better get in shape because I'm gonna leave you on this race. I'm like, you can't.
Wow.
It's a team thing.
Yeah.
So we get on the race and he's slow. I'm like, you
on,
talk
man.
all this mess for months to do this.
Because the point
So-
of Amazing Race is one person's supposed to be athletic and one person's supposed to be like intellectually.
That helps.
Like, right?
Yeah.
That would be like
brains and the brawn.
perfect.
Yeah, we
that's the
didn't
perfect
really
makeup,
have
right?
either. Yeah. So you'll see that this season. I love you, Dad.
Yeah. All right, so we got Christians doing campus pastor right
Yeah.
now at the Way. So Vivi, tell us like your exact role at Sandals.
So my role, I'm next gen director.
Okay.
So Sandals multi-site. We got 14 campuses. All in California. So I kind of have a dual thing going on. So at our main campus, I'm over middle school through young adults, and
Okay.
then across our campuses, I get to help speak in, strategize, and support our campuses in our young adult ministry. So I've been doing
sweet.
the young adult piece for the last, I guess, 2.5, 3 years now.
That's
Oh
great.
wow,
Yeah.
no doubt. That's
awesome.
That's,
And
that's
youth ministry since 20. I mean,
Bro, like 2002. he
yeah,
was
you
doing
know,
it.
second grade.
Oh yeah.
She's
I
OG.
found it. No,
so OG.
like I don't know, 2016.
Wow.
Yeah,
2016, 20. If you don't mind me asking, how old are you?
31.
31. Oh,
yeah.
okay, cool. Oh, nice. So you've been
They
doing next
trapped
gen
me in
ministry
Southern
for a while.
California. I'm from the Bay Area, and I was like, yeah, I'm
Oh,
here
are
for
you really?
college. I'm here
Yeah.
for college, and then they're
Once
like,
you come,
hey,
you get stuck.
and I'm here.
way.
That's right.
That's cool.
The yay area.
You know, I had
Yeah.
to throw that in there.
Yeah. It's good. It's good.
Yeah, I heard you when you guys were hosting the Arc one day.
Oh,
you did
yeah.
great.
Thank
yeah,
you.
it was
Thank you,
awesome.
thank you.
Yeah, it was awesome. That's when I was talking to Sammy after. I'm
Yeah.
like, I heard Vivi, and she'd be
Yeah.
dope for this. So
cool.
yeah, we're
Bro,
pumped.
I knew Vivi before I was a Christian.
I know. So this
What?
is.
Yeah.
That's
No
cool.
way.
Like,
Yeah.
I was like in the wishy-washy, like half
Yeah.
and half, like
Alan
serving
was like
in youth, but like still
bodybuilder.
smoking weed kind of like vibe. Like, I knew
We have a mutual
Wait,
friend,
Alan-
just to make that clear.
Alan, you're a bodybuilder?
Yeah, that's a different story.
We might need
We're
a
gonna need some
picture.
photos. Yeah, we're gonna need to throw some photos.
We need
up,
some
dude.
pictures.
No, we don't. I actually had to take them down.
Oh, but you gotta
but-
at least have one.
No, I have them. but
Okay.
They ain't going nowhere.
All right.
They're not public. They're not public.
Yeah, we might need to see. Okay, anyways.
They're on his MySpace.
I've known Vivi forever.
Like, it's
literally, my
crazy.
best friend did.
Is one of my
ministry
best
with
friends,
you. Yeah, and I had no idea. He's like,
Really?
oh yeah, I have this friend. She does ministry. You should meet her. And that was
So
her.
crazy.
So
Yeah,
when
we
I
would
was
meet at,
talking
like,
to Sam,
birthdays.
you know Vivi? I'm like, do I know? Vivi?
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Yeah, so
Are you
I mean,
serious?
shout out
That's
Alan
cool.
is the one who connected us. I know.
Yeah.
So you know, Pastor Matt, right? From
yeah,
Sandals.
and I was like, but before I text Matt,
Yeah,
just
before we go that
I'm
way, I was like,
yeah.
I was like, hey, Alan, are you in for this idea? He's like, of course, let's go. And then I was like, we were thinking of someone else who'd be great, and then your name came up. He's like, oh yeah, she'd crush it. So thank you for connecting us, and thank you
Yeah.
for being here. So fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
So
dope.
cool.
And then your role at One and All, Alan.
Like the paper roll.
Yeah, I know. In church, there's.
So I'm the lead. We got young adults, youth.
Okay.
We have multi-site, and so we kind of operate that way. But yeah, I'm just in charge of our main campus primarily. I mean, that's what
Yeah.
I'm pretty much doing. But our dynamic is so different. Because we're multi-site, we've kind of gone. We're like doing a very campus-centric model, which we've heard like isn't supposed to work and like isn't good, but we're doing it and it's actually working really well. You know, I think like we're ironing out some of the wrinkles of like what it looks like to be very like campus-centric as opposed to we're not trying to just be a satellite campus. We're trying to replicate the same experience on every single campus.
Okay.
So that's been the hardest thing, but I think we're doing great. So I get to
Oh, that's
see
cool.
youth from our main campus, young adults. My office is there. I hang out there. I preach there. And
That's dope.
pretty much it, yeah.
When we here at Patriot, we have a ton of young adults who go to your guys' Tuesday young
I see the
adult
merch.
thing. And do you see the Patriot merch?
The Patriot hats are everywhere.
That's so funny.
Our people just replicate everywhere.
Yeah.
yeah. So they always tell me, or I'll see them posting and they love your guys' young adult services.
Yeah, thanks. I
It's
love it
every
too.
Tuesday or every
The second
first
Tuesday of every month.
Second Tuesday every month. So it's once a month.
Because the church does feel so big, sometimes like our heart from the beginning was like getting young adults into small groups. So
Yeah.
when we first started young adults, I was like, hey, come to young adults, get signed up for a small group. Now it's like come to young adults with your small group.
Yeah, right.
So it's
Yeah.
really cool because even the people who come to Patriot or come to One and All from Patriot, they all sit together. Like they're like
That's
different
cool.
groups, and so
Yeah,
I'm like my
that's right.
charismatics are right in
Right
the
there.
corner right here.
There's
Those
the
are my people
Patriot
right here.
people.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and so
yeah.
it's a blast. We love having all y'all over. At
That's
One and All.
dope.
Yeah.
Yeah, we replicate merch like you'd think we'd have our own printing press, here, but we don't.
You need it.
Yeah, we probably should. It'd probably
I saw
lower
Will
cost
Chung
if
with
we
a shirt,
could do
and
that.
I was like, "Where did you get that?" He's like, "Oh, that's Adam."
Yeah, it makes
have to ask
sense.
him.
Yeah. No, I think Sammy after this is taking you over to.
Yeah, we're gonna go to the merch container.
Yeah. We'll
right.
see
Each
what
get-
I don't know what's in stock. But
I mean,
we'll-
no pressure to take it, but
Yeah,
it is,
yeah,
if
yeah.
you don't
Oh,
take
we're
it,
taking.
no.
We're taking.
So we're gonna
we're
do
good.
that. For next gen stuff, Vivi, when does Sandals do? When do you guys do your next gen gatherings?
So similarly, notoriously, we've kind of done a model of, hey, our network model, our central standardizes kind of everything across the board. But the last year and a half, we've really gone to a more autonomous model. Campuses do and be local church communities,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So with that, it's some campuses have been doing an every single week thing. Other campuses, it's the once a month model. At our main campus, we're large, 2 universities there. We meet every Tuesday, but not every Tuesday is the same. So
Okay.
we do a first and third. We've got groups.
Yeah.
We've got our second of the month is prayer worship, very interactive. And then our fourth, we call Next Gen Nights, where we
Yeah.
have I would say people over the age of 30 coming in and leading a table. But goal is, hey, long-term change, maybe from a conversation, long-term relationship in a discipleship matter,
Yeah.
connecting the older, younger. So
That's amazing.
every Tuesday, not
Yeah.
every Tuesday is the same. And we start
Yeah.
back up in September.
Oh,
What
you
do you
do?
do?
Nice.
Oh, was that the question?
No,
Youth?
and then
No,
when
no,
you-
I was like,
you
how
said-
embarrassing.
No, you answered it right. No.
Why didn't anyone tell me to shut up?
You did it.
Oh, you got it.
did
You
That was
nailed
what I was
it.
asking.
You did a great job.
I thought you were
Yeah.
something you do you.
The next night, Wednesdays. And
that's the same thing for me. Every
Youth is a
Wednesday,
little
yeah.
bit every Wednesday.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
YA in Riverside, we deprogrammed during the summer for YA. And so we really spent the summer just developing leaders and doing a bunch of fun stuff. We launched a brunch club. Yeah, our
Did you guys
Sunday,
making waffles and
Oh,
stuff?
dude, it was so. It was just an idea. I was like, let's just do it and see what happens.
Yeah.
But we did a bunch of different things, and I just got a lot of people that love to cook and
Yeah.
love to organize. So I'm like, let's run it. But yeah, that was our
Yeah.
summer's kind of fun community like
So
that.
you say brunch club. What did you guys do? You did it
So-
on site or you did it somewhere else?
So our Sunday
Okay.
morning, 10 a.m., and this started last summer. I was like, and actually our worship leaders were like, hey, what would it look like if young adults took over the first couple rows in the middle section, main sanctuary on a Sunday morning?
Okay.
And I'm like,
Great.
you don't have to tell me twice. Let's do it. And that grew. And, I have older people so this ends at summer, right? And I'm like, invest in the next
Same.
generation. Yeah. And so I'm like, no, girl,
That's why those
scoot
older
over.
people have been coming to Patriot.
demographic
I get 'em.
Yeah, I'm
I
like,
get them.
Makes sense.
I'm like, hey, they don't have an older mom, dad in their life saying, come sit with me. You
Yeah.
could be that.
yeah.
That's good.
All these parentless
Yeah.
children that
Yeah.
you've created.
That's-
It's like they all got great mamas and dads, but you told them.
No, but that's grown. So our 10 a.m. is really the hey, I tell people, come sit with us. And it's really that whole section. And then 11:45, we push people serve somewhere. And then right after, brunch together. So sit together, serve together, brunch together.
That's fire.
And it's just been
Yeah.
fun.
Amazing.
That's awesome.
Cool.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I felt bad when we're like, sorry, we're done.
Yeah.
But-
So it has ended.
Yeah, we did
But are you still doing the road thing or that's ended too?
So August, I know this is so funny. I'm like, oh, people that care. I love this.
You're sitting with church
yeah,
people.
yeah.
We wanna know.
Yeah. So for August, that was our July bit. June through July, we're doing brunch club all summer long. August, because we're kind of in RCC, CBU, UCR, there's different start-stops.
Okay.
So we're like, August, we're still doing Sunday mornings. We sit together, but brunch clubs ended. But we've got a vision night coming up at the end of the month that's like, hey, anybody that wants to be around or be a part of this YA community, you got to be there. And then the fun thing of like being a multi-site is we've done 3. This is like put my campus hat down, central hat on. We do 3 all-campus worship nights in the summer. So like that's happening in tandem to what our campus is doing. And we actually launched a residency last summer. So I got like 10 residents. So I also oversee that just for the summer. And so I'm working with that team to do the all-campus stuff. And then I'm working with my campus team to make brunch club, and we're going to Angels game, like organize some community there. Goal is like make some friends and let's dive deep come fall. So,
That's rad.
Come on.
Love
awesome.
it. That's awesome.
it's been
And
fun.
then where are you guys? You're not doing weekly
We are
right now. You are doing
yeah,
weekly.
We're doing weekly.
Okay, so you're the one grinding out young adults weekly.
Yeah, so like I said, such a really strong team. Really, the weekly model has helped us to develop a lot of leaders in young adult ministry. And so it's given people the opportunities to exercise their gifts, develop teachers of the word, develop future leaders of other ministries. So that's why we really like and kept the weekly model. We do every Friday except, maybe one Friday out of the month for a special service or something at our church that we want to do. But yeah, that's the idea. Every Friday night.
Yeah.
Along with
great.
small groups. Because our small group ministry, we call them discipleship groups at our church.
Yeah.
And the small group the culture is through and through. Every campus, we're about 8 locations right now. And through and through, the discipleship group model is really, really strong. So it goes from, and you'll be shocked, there's kids, small groups.
Yeah.
Kids get together, study their Bibles. Teens, with teens even leading some of those Bible studies. Young adults leading other young adults, seniors, all the way up. So we'll have small groups that meet weekly throughout, different days of the week, and then we all get together on Fridays.
Dude, that's awesome.
Yeah, and I hardly do a lot of the preaching. I mean, I'll get up there maybe
On Friday night?
Friday night,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
maybe once a month, maybe once every other month. But the goal is I'm developing teachers of the word.
Yeah.
That's my my passion when it comes to the young adult ministry. I want to develop. I want to see you guys exercising your gifts. I want to see you develop. We're going to work out the kinks. We'll go through your notes. We'll do whatever we can. We'll pray it up, but you have me here to lean on and to support you. But I want to see you thrive. I want to see you better than I've ever done at young adult ministry. That's my goal for these guys.
Yeah.
And so,
Nice.
so every week this month we have someone that's kind of up and coming in the ranks, some younger guys that have been kind of, itching to, teach.
Yeah.
They have the gift. We know it's there. And so
Yeah.
we got them all lined up this month to teach and preach the word. And
that's
so we're
good.
working with
So
them
every
all.
Friday,
Every
it'll be
Friday.
like a developing person.
Yeah.
Wow.
Dude, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's great.
Okay, so I have this question. Is with you guys so kind of ingrained in kind of next gen ministry, kind of specifically that 18 to 24-year-old, and then at some point you could share whatever. I know everybody defines young adult age
Right,
differently.
right.
Some are doing 18 to 30, some are doing 18 to 21 college only. So you guys could say that at any point to clarify. But when you guys are working with next gen, what are you seeing are like the greatest strengths of people in their early 20s, and what are their greatest weaknesses? And then same thing for Chelsea, not necessarily in that ministry anymore, but you've kind of become a face for like that Gen Z, because like Big Brother's all ages, and you
Yeah.
were like, you're a young winner. And
Yeah.
so you've now been exposed to a lot of people like your own age and their maturity levels, but also people that are older and their maturity. Like I can only imagine
Yeah.
what your DMs have looked like since you won, but because these people are like fanatics. I don't watch anything really, but but then just seeing like, obviously because
Right.
we love you, like when you won, seeing now Big Brother, and it was like full on, like I'd type your name in TikTok and there's like people that are like 50 years old acting like
No, I know.
they're like sports anchors, talking about Big Brother,
yeah.
like they're like, hey, here's everything Chelsea did wrong, or here's
Yeah, I
everything
know.
Chelsea did wrong. I'm
That's
thinking like,
funny.
dude, this girl's in her 20s, like, leave her alone.
Thank you.
Yeah, so would guys speak to that? Like,
Yeah.
what do you think you're seeing the greatest strengths? What are the greatest challenges, that you're seeing with that next gen? Jump in,
Who wanna go? Who
whoever
wanna go?
got it.
We're talking early 20s?
Yes, specifically early 20s.
Early 20s. I feel like
We'll
it's
talk about whatever.
Okay, well,
Just go.
it's different for me
25
because
plus.
when I started young adult ministry, we're dealing with millennials.
Exactly.
And we're millennials. We're
Yes.
dealing with millennials, and now we're dealing with Gen Z. And I'm sure this is going to come up in the difference between the two. But
For sure.
I feel like the early 20s that I'm seeing right now, I'm seeing a lot of, which is interesting. I'm seeing a lot of people that are the only Christians in their home.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm seeing a lot of that. So
Yeah.
I'm seeing people that are heard the gospel through TikTok, or
Yeah.
they got saved in their room. Just they saw TikTok, it came up once or twice. They're dealing with massive depression, anxiety, a lot of these things, and they don't know where to go.
Yeah.
And so of course they're running to the only answer. They're running to the Lord. So I've seen a lot of that. Like we have a testimony of a young girl in our young adult ministry. Her name is Jocelyn. Shout out Jocelyn if she's watching this. But she got saved in her room. She's the only Christian in her home. And the moment she got saved, it was like she was on her own journey discipling herself. She got herself into a church. She got herself involved in ministry. She got herself into discipleship. She did all of this just looking for the answer. So, and now she's totally on fire. She's bringing her friends to the Lord. Just recently, we took a team of missionaries to Japan. She got herself on that team to get to a first mission trip to Japan. But this is kind of what I'm seeing. People that are coming from broken homes, dealing with a lot of things. But I've seen a lot of people that didn't really grow up in church, didn't really have that. That's at least what I'm seeing. In our demographic in San Bernardino, I'm seeing a lot of that. People that dealt with, broken, split families, maybe drugs in the home, maybe some violence or things going on. That's kind of what, we deal with that the
you're
way.
in San Bernardino.
We're San Bernardino.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
so.
But not just San Bernardino. That's your guys' ministry ethos.
Right, right.
Is broken homes, broken people. Yeah.
And so that's at least what I'm saying. I'm seeing a lot of people that are, and I'm so proud of them. I'm so proud of them because I can't imagine not having someone tell me, you got to get to church.
Yeah.
Right.
Get up. Let's go.
Yeah.
Get ready. Time to, get in the car. We got to go to church. And I asked myself, would I have been in church at a super young age? Would I have been pushing myself to be there? And I'm seeing these young people getting themselves there, driving out there, getting involved in ministry, growing in the Lord, getting discipled. And so that's some of the things that we're seeing, at least some, I would say, positive testimonies. These are the strengths and seeing in some of the people in their early 20s coming to church on their own. And so it's awesome to see that.
Dope perspective.
Yeah.
No, I would just jump on that. Like, I think of so much just untamed vulnerability, And when you think about for the gospel's sake, it's because I have been in ministry for a bit where I'm watching young adults and maybe millennials like myself go from, I'm really wanting to get my life right. I'm really wanting to grow in prayer and as a follower of Jesus. To now it's like, hey, here's all my weed, here's my bong, take it. I don't want it anymore. It's just so untamed and I love it. And I think part of that is because, there's so much access. People aren't bought into what they can have immediate anymore. It's that's wearing off. The podcasts, the songs, the speakers, whatever, people are like, no, I'm not bought into that. What else? And so I think with that, I'm watching a lot of young people not just show up, to go to something, but they're there to show up for something, They're hungry. I was listening, we got back from summer camp and I'm listening to these seniors. They're like, hey, baby, can you talk to me for a second? I'm like, yeah, what's up? And they're like, I was rebuking anxiety in the name of Jesus over my friend the other day. And I'm like, who talks like that? Who? But I'm like, dang, I love this. I'm seeing a generation so on fire to get in it, even if it's not fully understood, but trust the discipleship and even be excited about getting to also be disciple makers, you know? Yeah. Now, to the weakness point, it's the flop side of that is whoa, not slow down, but welcome in wisdom, you know?
And, for sure.
And I'm watching that too. I think because of the immediacy, people are like, I'm going to completely redeem my old life, but it's hey, I'm finding myself really grab people and say, hey, you want people to walk alongside you. You want to welcome that, be proactive about it. Who's discipling you and who are you discipling? And so it's funny, what I see and what gets me so excited is also the thing that's whoa, but
Yeah. That's good.
I think similarly, Yeah, we're seeing, young people radically coming, broken homes, first generation Christian, all that stuff.
Right.
Make it closer to this mic, that way it
Yeah.
sounds
Yeah.
good.
You can
but
pull it. You
we
can pull
saw,
it closer to you.
I don't
too.
know if it will come.
Yeah,
more.
it will.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
it will.
yeah. Put it on
Okay.
your lap.
Praise
Yeah.
the Lord.
Yeah.
There we go. But I'm saying, okay, so our young adults is 18 to 30. And so what I'm seeing, so I'm still Gen Z, so I took credit for it. The thing is, 5 years ago, I was saying I was Gen Z, and it was
Right.
like.
Wait, what
people
year were you born?
97.
Okay.
Yeah,
Oh, that's
Gen
you
Z.
just
Yeah,
made
yeah,
it.
yeah.
You
Yeah,
just
just
That's
made
like
it.
the threshold,
But here's the
right?
thing.
Wait,
Here's the
time
thing.
out. Do you
Jermaine in here,
feel
we know that.
do you like a feel young like adult?
How do you identify? That's the question.
I be TikToking, so I'm Gen Z.
Okay, good.
Yeah, people.
Okay, but a couple years ago,
and
it
you
was
have
a
an
diss.
incredible social media game, by the way. You do a very good job at taking
Wow.
ministry and everything on
Thanks.
TikTok and
I appreciate
Instagram.
that.
Yeah, you kill it, bro.
But
you,
you
thank
could
you.
also
Yeah.
be in between. You're Gen Z, but you also can relate and you connect with the millennials.
Yeah, yeah,
too.
yeah,
So
but
that's-
You're a Gillennial.
I hear
My
what you're
point
saying.
is this.
We're gonna coin that on this podcast right here.
Okay, a
No,
couple
okay,
years
go.
ago, I remember being in the church office. It was like 5 years ago. This is a time I'm doing social media for the church, right? And they're like, "Oh, you're Gen Z, and they're making fun of me for being
Right.
Gen Z. And I was
Yeah.
like, "No, I want to be a millennial."
Yeah,
now
yeah.
being Gen Z is cool.
Yeah,
because TikTok
exactly.
popped off and Gen Z's
Yeah.
trending, and I'm like, "Don't try and come over here on this
And
side
all of
now."
Gen Z are like millionaires.
That's what I'm saying.
For now.
So
It's like
For now.
like every
So-
right,
For now.
right, yeah,
identify as a Gen Z.
Millennials, right?
yeah, right.
So
I'm
as
a
a
millennial.
as a Gen Zer,
Yeah, come on,
we're
come on,
we're
come on.
18 to 30, and what I've realized is, the pandemic I feel like took a couple years off of some of these young adults' lives. Where we started young
totally.
adult ministry out of the
Man.
pandemic, we're like, okay, we want to do 18 to 25, but there's some like 27-year-olds I
Yeah.
know that feel 23,
Yeah.
24,
For sure.
single, probably even still in college.
And
'cause they have to
COVID
take up
kind
to-
of messed a lot of stuff
threw a
up. Gave
curveball
some
in
people
there.
delayed,
For sure.
upbringing and everything. Yeah.
So we had some
yeah.
grace for the first few years. Now it's like we had a young adults and someone's like, "It's my birthday," and like from the
They were
crowd during a
45.
host moment, and our pastor was like, "How old are you?" He's like, 33. We're like,
Get out
Why
of
are
here.
you here?
you can't be here. Join a men's group, bro. Anyways, so
Nobody invited me.
I'm like, we're gonna start
Is that how
IDing
they
at the door.
feel, Adam?
It's like, yeah.
Hey,
It's
all
like
right.
here's our
All
rule.
right,
It's
let
like
me
if you're
leave.
over 30 and you're not weird,
It's like,
you
I'm
can
a
stay.
young adult, I'm 33. You should be buying
homie was
houses.
weird.
Like,
Nah, homie
Go
was
have
weird.
some kids.
Yeah, no, that's crazy. Yeah, it's the same guys that DM us asking if we can have a singles night. Man, it's bad. So, anyways, what I've noticed, I would say I would classify like 18 to 24 right now as a completely different group than 25 to 30. 25 to 30,
Oh,
they're
yeah.
showing up. They're like, what can I get from this? What can I receive from this? Where's my wife at? Like that's 25 to 30.
Right.
8 to 24, they're getting radically saved by TikTok.
Right.
They're watching Bryce Crawford and they want to
Right.
evangelize in the street.
Right.
And they're like, how can I live this thing out, carry this thing out, save my
Yeah.
friends, save my family? Because there's a lot of first generation
Right.
Christians coming
Right.
to
Yeah.
our church, and so. What I've realized is that we're gonna just go do it, and we're gonna have the
Yeah.
backyard
Facts.
worship nights.
So
and,
true.
and dude, they're like, there's even students in our youth ministry because I do youth. Who like, I think I love youth better than young adults, but that's a different story.
Whoa.
There's
Wow, bro.
16-year-olds who like they have a call of God in their life. Like they're
Yeah.
understanding
Yeah.
the
So
revelation
true.
of what it looks like to be a preacher, a
Yes.
pastor, a church
Yes.
planter, a missionary. And I'm like, I'm so glad you're 16. You've stayed under the Father's covering. You didn't have to go squander inheritance and come back and be like,
Yeah.
oh, here's my testimony. It's like
Right.
you've been in church kind of your whole life.
Right.
You love the Lord more than
Right.
anything. And they're like, yeah, my testimony is going to be God's faithfulness. And so
Amen.
I want to like
Love it.
shepherd that and steward that. So that's what I'm saying is like I don't have as many testimonies nowadays where it's like, yeah, I did the drugs and I went
Right.
to jail. And those things are great. We'll celebrate that. I think as a church, we tend to over celebrate those things. But like what I'm seeing is there's a lot more of stories, which is like my wife's story, where it's like generational pastor. And then you're like the 5th generation's pastor's kid. And you're just like, yeah, like, there's doubts and I'm sure you're questioning, and all those things
Right.
are real, but it's not a crazy, testimony that is going to like be played in the big screen during church,
Right.
to get people to be saved. And so I'm seeing a lot of that happening now. The younger 18 to 24s are like, we're just going to do it. We're going to go save
Yeah.
people. We're going to see millions be saved. I'm going to start the social media platform.
Right.
The bad side of that is two things: is like one, the inability to stay planted,
Yep.
and two, the lack of submission to spiritual mothers and fathers. When I do a lot of stuff outside of the church, I get asked all the time, like, "What's the greatest problem with Gen Z?" And we want to talk about suicide, depression, anxiety, all these different things. But I think like the root of all those things is the lack of mothers and fathers.
Amen.
With the divorce rates all time high. You have fathers
Right.
who maybe in the home, but they're absent because they care about at work. Or,
Right.
you know, in my case, it was like my parents ended up getting divorced, but when I was like 9 years old, my brother got stabbed and killed. So my dad became depressed. He hates God because why would God like allow my son to die? My mom is working all the time. So my grandma, who only speaks Spanish, is raising me. And like, I kind of grew up in that church context where like I only came to church because a baseball coach made me go with him because my parents were absent. And so I'm thinking like, how many young adults, they feel like they could just do it on their own.
Yeah.
And the root of a lot of their issues is the fact that they didn't have mom and dads at home, but
true.
the lack of willingness to be submitted to a mother and father. Like we say this all the time, like the greatest gift you can get from a mother or father is a no. And a lot of young adults want yes, 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 yes.
Right.
And the moment, and this is where it ties in to lack of, you know, being planted, is the moment they get a no, they move on to the next best
Right.
thing.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, and so I love when the Patriot heads come over to One and All, and I love when One and All comes to Patriot, and like all these different churches, and you know, but it's like Monday you go to this church, and Tuesday you go to this church, and Wednesday you go to this church. And it's like, at what point do you get planted?
Right.
Like,
Right.
where are
Right.
you serving? Like,
Yeah.
I ask this question all the time, like, where are you giving? Like,
Yeah.
you know, I think the greatest indicator of like if somebody's really
Yeah.
rooted somewhere is like, are they giving? Like, do they
Yep.
trust God to put their finances and their resources into the house? And so the lack of plantedness
Yeah.
is driving me crazy because they think I can do it on my own. And I can
Yeah.
just go, I don't need to. Yeah. Did someone-
No, it's me
Oh,
over
yeah,
here.
yeah.
Sorry.
I was like, what the
I look this way too.
I'm in the booth back here. It's
Speak,
the
Lord.
Yeah, just,
Speak,
just
Lord.
Open up your hands.
Speak through your prophecy, Lord. Oh, there he is.
Do you feel like there's a mixture of both a lack of moms and dads, but also a lack of submitting to like people want a certain type of a spiritual mother and father?
Yeah,
You know what
yeah,
I'm saying?
we
like,
live in a-
is it both where it's like, oh, I want to receive from so and so, but then God brings a certain person like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, I
That's
don't
a
want to
great
receive
point.
from them.
That's a
I
great
want to
point.
receive from Pastor Adam,
Right.
the senior pastor
Yeah.
of Patriot. When it's like, no, God has given you these people here, but we don't want to submit to them because we feel like we're waiting.
100%.
What do you
Yeah,
what do you
I
think
mean,
of
we
that?
live
That's
in
a
like
good
a
point.
preference generation. Like if
Yeah.
you see something, you just hit not interested and you keep scrolling because
Right.
you just don't want to see it on your TikTok
Right.
feed. And so what happened with our church is we said, our senior pastor said, hey, we're going to launch this model of one-on-one mentorship from adult to young adult because we noticed this was a thing that's happening. We had way more mentors sign up than mentees willing to
Really?
be mentored.
Wow.
And what that
Wow.
pretty much told us, and through the process we've realized this too, is that young adults like, well, they're not a good fit for me. They're not a good fit for me.
Yeah.
Dude, you know how many times like I've had to submit myself to like the leadership of somebody who I necessarily didn't agree with.
Right. My
and it's like,
mentor looks
Or wouldn't have
nothing
picked
like
him.
me.
At all.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
look at my mentor. He's
Oh,
from
yeah.
Dallas, Texas, like the
yeah.
most like,
Yeah.
you know, off-put person in the world. And you look at
Yeah.
me, tattoos.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like, but that's what I need.
Yes,
Yeah,
and
I
like,
need
God
the
won't
guy
always
that's
give you,
exactly
like-
opposite from
Right.
me. You know?
Exactly. And God
Yeah.
won't always give you the person that you want, but He'll give you the person that you
He
need.
will.
Yeah.
But
And
I
so,
think
like,
that's what
yeah.
social media has done. It's allowed people to listen to what they prefer.
So
I'm
true.
going to listen to this pastor because they make
Yeah.
me feel a certain
Yeah.
way.
Right.
So they tailor their discipleship to what they want to hear.
100%.
And that's why you're not seeing a lot of people submit to
Yeah.
authority in churches or just in their lives.
Yeah.
Because I can go listen to this pastor that I like.
For
And
sure.
they're going
Right.
to tell me what I want. And
Right.
that's
Yeah.
the dangerous thing that I've seen. And coupled with that, you have a lot of Gen Z who are on fire for God, not necessarily discipled, but they're getting online, sharing,
Yeah.
yada, yada, yada. And that's where they're going to. These
For sure.
undiscipled people
Yeah.
to be discipled. And you're seeing the effects of that.
Like
which is
Philip
like-
Anthony Mitchell can only disciple you so much
So
through
much.
YouTube, and Tim Ross can only disciple
Yeah,
you so much.
yeah,
You, like
yeah,
get
yeah.
under the covering of a mother and father that has to look you in the face and tell you everything that's wrong with you. Like if it wasn't for like a spiritual mother in my life that who I still walk with to this day to tell me everything that I did wrong and me have to like receive it with a humble heart, I wouldn't be in ministry today. I would have burned myself out. I would have probably killed myself and my wife. You know, like it just
Yeah.
would have
Yep.
not been
Yeah.
a good scenario for me. But it's like God knows what you need and He'll put the people in place. And yeah, they're just like stay planted somewhere long enough to see the fruit. Like I don't know. This is just
Yeah.
this is my own take.
No,
I think Kobe Bryant is the greatest basketball player
Come
of all
on, my
time.
boy.
Right.
Let's
Okay.
get it. My bad. Sorry. My apologies.
Why they gotta
There's so
do
much
that?
wrong with just like,
Hey,
So-
man,
Michael
that's why we had
Jordan.
this group here.
Christian switch with Chelsea, right?
Can you get out of me, please? But here's what I admire about Kobe is like,
Let
you know,
him
when he
know.
retired, he said, yeah, I want it the right way. I stayed. I wanted to leave. It got hard. I got frustrated, but like we won the championships the right way. But like, bro, LeBron's so whack. Every 3-4 years, it gets hard, moves on to the next
You're about to
opportunity.
get so
Wait.
Okay,
much.
hang on.
Comments.
You're gonna have to cut that out.
Kobe is my go-to.
Okay.
But we're
Okay,
Laker
Sammy.
fans. Come
Okay,
on.
here's,
We're gonna bring it together.
But like, okay, let's be real. Like, okay, I admire the talent.
It's Luca's team now.
it is.
It really is.
I love the
love
talent.
Luka.
I love the athleticism. You know, greatness
That's
is
where as a
greatness,
preacher, you
but-
just say, stick with my point. Stick with my point.
Hear me out. I'm gonna get to somewhere.
Yeah, stay with me.
Is this-
Stay with me now.
Stay with me now.
Is this when we start talking about Steph?
But like, let's throw, Steph goes in there. But like KD, like all these, you know, nowadays
No,
it's
the
like
Bay's never
it's
included.
3-4 years.
So
and-
we have a campus in the Bay. So I'm sorry.
Do you?
I had to remember that.
My bad.
Yeah.
My bad. The Bay Area campus. But anyways, 3-4 years is like, what's the next best opportunity? Who can I team up with to go do the
Yeah.
next thing to win the championship? And like, if that's always the end goal, then we'll do whatever we can to like, you know, get to that thing. And I love the idea of staying planted.
Sorry,
No,
I was going to say also
Yeah.
too. It has a lot to do with like the instant gratification,
Yes.
getting it
Immediate.
now,
Yeah.
getting it right now. Like I share this story all the time. It's just a silly story from when I was a kid. When I was a kid in kindergarten, they taught us that when you plant a seed, you get a tree. And so I went home. I got a little red Solo cup, put some dirt in it. This is what they told us to do.
Yeah.
I put a seed in it. I threw some water on it, and I sat there.
Oh.
And I waited. And she just forgot to tell me. Like, it's going to take a long time.
Wait, how old are you?
I was 5.
I was gonna say,
She's like, if you were 14,
Kindergarten.
I'd be concerned.
I was saying this last week. This was last week.
But that's the same
That's why he
idea.
didn't
Yeah.
leave his house till he was
you're right.
18.
Right,
good.
yeah, it took
I
some
think
time.
He was just
Another-
watching the cup.
Fruit takes time. Roots take time.
Another component of that, though, is I think, you know, we can look, and I think this is where, like, Gen Z and millennials got flack for so long, as older generations are like, oh, you guys just want things. But it's like, can we consider the society and culture that's discipled people as people?
Yeah.
For sure.
Like, swipe right, swipe left, Netflix, everything's so on demand. And I think there's this heart posture shift for the older, too, where it's like, oh, it's not even that they're rejecting, they just don't know.
Yeah.
We've discipled them actually to understand, to learn, to live that things happen now, you know, where that's,
Right.
it's not always the case. And I think what's interesting too is that it like when you tap in and see like the aspect of like plantedness, like it comes from social media, but it also comes from like careers. Like I do love that you brought up Kobe.
Yeah.
Like I think millennials, so much of it was like startup culture, on to the next thing. Why are you going to stay somewhere longer than 2-3 years? But like I think that's where the church has a really cool opportunity to say, hey, like let's stay planted,
Right.
Because that's where you're going to grow. You're not
Right.
going to grow if your roots are like,
No, absolutely
or just
not.
red Solo cup go. You know?
Exactly, man. That tree never grew. I threw that
Yeah.
cup away.
I'm gonna buy
so
you a
true.
tree there.
And the thing is, so, like that's you say startup culture, like
Christian's been
that's
needing a tree
that's
for a long
celebrated. Like
time.
Yeah, right. It is celebrated. It's the same thing with like hustle, the whole
Yeah.
hustle, John Mark Comer.
every time
yeah.
someone posts on Instagram, like, oh, here's the new thing I'm doing. It's like, oh, congrats, bro. We're crazy. We're excited. And like, that's cool. We got, you know.
Yeah.
But how often do you see somebody stay somewhere 25 years and like just be done? And like, you don't hear enough like well done.
Right.
It's not celebrated. You know.
Man,
like I just
come
had a
on.
friend post like, this is my last time preaching at this young adult service. Been here 13 years.
Yeah.
And I was like, I
Wow.
sent him a long message because I'm like, bro, well done. You know.
Right.
My friend Michael Eltzakori is like the greatest preacher of my generation, in my opinion. And youth pastor 10 years, transitioned to just be a campus pastor at a satellite campus and like started and stayed in the house.
Yeah.
And like that wasn't celebrated. In fact, like when he stopped being a youth pastor, he stopped getting calls from his friends because he's not a youth pastor. He's not an asset to
Wow.
anyone
Right.
anymore.
Wow.
And so like those things aren't celebrated. And like
Or people
I think,
question you. Like I
Yeah.
get a question. You're still at Sandals?
Yeah.
You're yeah,
Yeah. Like I've been in the
because
same
they
house.
know me.
Like how long you been
They
there?
know how to challenge me. I've been like home. It's been my home church since 2013.
Like how many years is that? That's what, 12 years? 13
Let's
years?
do
How old were you?
Yeah.
So we take
12, yeah.
How long have you been in your church?
It's-
I'm like 31, 30.
Like how long have you been?
12 years.
By the way,
Yeah.
since, gosh, but 20 years.
See, like,
Yeah.
like no one's celebrating that.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
we started posting
Oh,
on
let's
Instagram.
go to Chelsea.
Like,
How long you been at Patria?
Yeah,
Since I was 9.
Yeah, like, this is good.
and where's your well done?
Yeah,
Like when you transition off staff, when
And
is
she
anyone
was
gonna be
sitting in
like,
the
hey,
front
great
row
job? You know,
this Sunday.
Yeah.
You know, for
Like,
service.
that's not
Yep.
celebrated. It's
Yeah.
like, but if I'm gonna go do something next week and transition to the next role, that my Instagram's gonna go crazy.
Right.
excited for you, happy for you, and that's
What's
cool. That
next?
happens. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But like,
What
you
an
don't hear that.
Yeah, what an interesting. I mean, Adam, obviously you've been here your whole life. I mean, we're sitting around a table of people that you're bringing up a valid point,
Yeah.
and this is probably something we wouldn't have recognized. We wouldn't even have brought up if you had mentioned that.
Yeah.
There's some valuable fruit in faithfulness and longevity.
That's right.
And there are some, I would say, there's some consequences to some hasty shortcuts.
Yeah.
And fruit and development takes time. And I love what you said. You even said how you need people in your life to be able to tell you no.
Yeah.
And even being connected, Jesus said in John 15, I prune the branches that bear fruit so
Yeah.
that they may bear more
More
fruit.
fruit, yeah.
So even if you are remaining faithful, even if you are planted somewhere for a long time, still expect to receive some type of correction or development or
100%.
longevity. That's how you bear the most fruit.
Right.
Yeah.
And just looking at you guys and all you guys' testimony and what you guys have accomplished and learning more about you guys, one common denominator here is you guys have been faithful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys have had longevity. Your roots have been in the ground. You've allowed those pruning processes to happen. And that's how you bear fruit in a tree. My kindergarten teacher didn't tell me that part, but skip that. But it takes time.
Yeah, let's go jump after this. No, I'm sorry.
I read a book that said on the flip side of us like serving the next generation that youth ministry is the only ministry where you may plant the seed and never see the fruit that comes
yeah.
out.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's real.
And can you still remain faithful in your part, in your portion, which is just the seed planter? Then somebody along comes and waters it, and then somebody comes and sees the fruit of it. And but a lot of people leave before they get the or aren't
That.
okay with just my portion is this.
Or don't know how to do the hard thing.
yeah. Yep.
Yeah,
Hard
I think
things sometimes.
what's the statistic? Is it 9 months or 10 months that is the average youth pastor like?
Comes and goes. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Oh,
No,
it's,
it's like
it'd
10
be
months,
something
right?
like
I don't know
that.
that.
Yeah, it's
Wow.
less than a
Yeah.
year.
It's
yeah.
like, bro,
yeah.
like you didn't even. It wasn't even a whole year. Like you didn't even get like the fruit season. Like you
The
didn't even
badge.
to
Not even
plant
full
it
school
and
year.
wait for it to.
Not the
No,
whole
that's
school
not even a
year.
full school year.
You didn't even get the other report card.
Yeah. And, you know, it's funny you talk about that too, because I think like we also don't talk about like what it looks like to be there a long time and sow the seed and like wait for like the harvest. But then also like, what about the people who, and like come and receive and they're a part and then like they like leave.
Yeah.
And you have no idea, you know, like they talk
Dude.
bad about you, betrayal,
Yeah.
people that like never took everything that you did for granted. Like I think as we're talking like longevity, I think that's just something that like happens with the next gen. Like that's something. I mean, we're talking about weaknesses, right, of the
Yeah.
next gen, and like that's
Yeah.
what breaks my heart is because there's social media platforms and because this is what like people are always talking. What I've noticed about this next gen is like when people leave, they don't leave well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When
For
people
sure.
leave, they always have something to say. When people
Yeah.
leave, they tear down the church, and I'm
It's
like, yo,
tough.
this is
Wow.
the bride of Christ.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
like I don't care if you go to the church down the street. I don't care if you talk bad about me. I mean, it hurts my feelings, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
But like, you know,
Yeah.
it is. What, like, I can't. I'm not gonna act like I don't care if people think about me. I do, you know.
Right.
But like, this is the bride of Christ you're talking about. And you're
Right.
tearing down the church and God's people, and like, I think something I've been preaching for a good minute with our like students and with honestly the thing that has convicted me to stay submitted under sometimes things I didn't agree with is the fact that like no, there is longevity in me and I can last, and when I do leave and when the Lord calls me to the next thing, I will leave well, because I have such a conviction for like when I talk about staying planted, like, can you leave well? And there's a lot of people that leave the
Can you
church
honor?
and talk bad
Yeah.
about the church
Yeah.
with so
Yeah.
much dishonor.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
and like that's just a
Right,
value
for
that is
sure.
on my heart.
Very
and,
good.
And I feel like I'm sensing on the table is like there's honor. Like I typically do this. I didn't do it today, so I'm bad. But like I never get on the podcast and never or a platform and never honor my senior pastor. Like he won't be in the room and he doesn't see it 90% of the time.
Right,
but like
right,
last
yeah.
night I made all the students, you know, we stand for our senior pastor and he's not watching. He's on sabbatical.
Yeah.
But like it's just getting in the habit of honoring your senior leadership and creating that culture. And so as I talk about the next gen, like I think I have a massive conviction for like
Yeah.
teaching them how to honor the people
Yeah.
above us, the people that
sure.
went before us,
Yeah.
the shoulders that we stand on, and stuff
Yeah.
like that. You know?
That's great.
Yeah.
That's good.
Another voice of the Lord over
Here
here.
you go.
This time we knew.
Andy, I
Yeah,
need
yeah.
like a boo 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 boo.
Yeah, we do.
Every
We
time,
should.
every time Sammy talks.
Similar to it, not everyone has to talk and touch on this, but what is a major misconception about Gen Z that you would like, man, in your context that you want to set straight? So we talked about the strengths, weaknesses, but something that is repeated. One thing that I would say at times when older generations sometimes complain about younger, I said those are your kids and grandkids. So who are the parents and grandparents?
Yeah.
And usually it gets a little salty, but that's okay. And so what I mean by that is that what's a misconception of Gen Z, or I mean we're getting into Generation Alpha, and some older millennials, but what's a misconception that you are like, man, I want to set the record straight on this specific aspect?
Well, one is that they don't want God. That's a misconception.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That they don't want a real encounter with the Lord. It's the opposite, actually. That they want radical, real, true encounters with the Lord. They're actually, I think the millennial thing was more on spiritual journey type stuff. I don't know. And Gen Z is now coming, kind of setting
It
the
was
record.
kind of that John Mark Comer-esque, like,
Yeah.
you know, like, I just need a rest. I just need a
Yeah,
chill. I
yeah.
just, everything, it's just everything around me is just giving me anxiety. So I just need to.
Everyone was deconstructing.
It was,
it was a,
we got
it was a
deconstruct.
it was a deconstruction type of mode, and now Gen Z is what I love. They're getting to the raw foundation gospel,
Right.
and I'm seeing that all over that. I didn't really see in maybe in my generation, in millennials. Millennials, I felt like was like the exodus of the church. You turned 18, the chances of you staying or sticking around was slim to none. That you're going to stick around, and I'm seeing the misconception is that, and maybe it isn't a misconception, but we're seeing it even in the stats that Gen Z wants Jesus. They want a real encounter with God. They want the discipleship. They want some of these things, and of course sometimes they are excited. They have this eagerness to a fault. Maybe they're just jumping from one thing to the next, but at least the desire is there that I want the Lord more than anything else. And so, of course, we have to disciple through some of the challenges, but I think that's probably one of them.
Yeah, that's good.
I think, too, a lot of misconception comes from assigning motive. Like I find a lot of times, even just in relationships, people are quick to assign motive to behavior. And it's like, oof, like how do you know? And that's kind of what I was saying earlier. Like, I actually don't think this generation is deliberately rejecting something. I think they just have never seen it. They've never experienced it.
Didn't have the example.
And now more than ever, it's like, no, this generation doesn't even have an earthly concept of a family. So how do we hold an expectation of a spiritual family? You know?
That's so true.
Now there's opportunity in that for the church to rise up, fill that. The other thing too, this is just kind of funny. I think anybody that's teaching or down to actually disciple is the younger, and this is more Gen Alpha, like later Gen Z, is that they're not paying attention. They're not listening. Like, dude, it amazes me that I could be preaching and a middle schooler could be like on their phone talking Cheetos, Takis, whatever, and then regurgitate everything back to me and be like, dude, that changed my life. I'm like, what? Half the time I'm like preaching and also silencing. But they're in it and it's so funny. Like, but at the same time, it's like, oh, talk about just being overstimulated. And so coaching this generation that even though they are overstimulated, and that's what we've culturally discipled them in, like not disciple in the church, but culture has, they're tracking. Don't let that be a barrier. Let that be the thing that's like, oh, that's actually how I need to intentionally disciple them this way. Teach them that de-stimulating is actually what your heart craves, you know? But it's just funny. I think I catch myself preaching like, pay attention, I'm like, oh, they like clocked me right after.
So. And they made a whole Canva post for you.
They did in the middle of it.
Your sermon notes. I feel like you got something good about misconceptions for Gen Z.
I would concur with what you guys are saying. I don't know if I would add anything other than they do want Bible. And we have to also look at Western church. You're in
Got you, Chelsea.
Thank you. Western church. We're in California, so they can go and get entertained here and get entertained there. They're not looking for it to be entertained anymore. They are really looking for a true change. There's this girl who I met on the show. She's 23, smack dab in the middle of being Gen Z, and she went to a mega church in the Bible Belt in Texas, did all of that, but now she called me last week. She's like, can we just open the Bible every Wednesday night and just I need you to teach me the text. They want to learn the text.
Let's go. Yeah.
That's what they want, and they're not dumb. Like I think the seasoned generation, because I got in trouble here a couple years ago because our church is very diverse in age, so I would call our olders
seasoned.
And they got a little mad at me. But anyways,
or if you want to go viral, just call them boomers.
The boomers.
You go viral.
For sure.
Boomers.
You should go viral.
They look at like, oh, they're so distracted. They don't want the Lord. This and that. It's like actually they do. They just don't want the Lord that's being presented in culture. They want the Bible. So teach them the Bible, and they're able to retain it. So that's the only thing that I would add to that.
I think to that point, you're like you're right in the sense that like, and I think there's a subcategory that would, but for the most part, like, they don't want Jesus the politician, or they don't want Jesus the businessman, or Jesus it's like we stripped so many biblical texts to be applicable to the American society, and like here's how Jesus was as a Republican. Here's how Jesus was as a Democrat. Here's how Jesus was as a leader, or look at the, and then rather than just like, no, this is like the fullness of God. This is, this is our creator. This is the word. And so it's like the moment we have kind of disenfranchised Jesus or even the apostles or the biblical text. I think that the misconception of the older generation, and even though I'm in my 30s, a lot of time I spent has been with most of the people in their 40s and 50s, and it was like we kind of like stripped Bible and it just to be like so Burger King, you can have it your way.
Right, yeah.
And I think the next generation is kind of going like, I don't want to see Jesus necessarily just through the lens of business or just through the lens of this news source. Like, I want to see him in the Bible. Like, what does that say?
Right.
And we know what we were doing is we were making it applicable. But without also making discipleship driven through just the biblical text. They misinterpreted that and they're like, well, they saw, like, we were taking Jesus and then just going like, here's how you serve, because Jesus washed feet. So everybody go wash feet, and then everybody go do this, and then it became very do heavy. And what we missed to say is like, well, we're applying it, but rather the next generation became jaded and was just like, oh, well, that's being used to manipulate me, or that's being used to get me to do something, rather than we would say, oh, no, it's good. It's good to have a spiritual father. But we also took it in and said, you will be cursed if you don't have a spiritual father. And then it became this like pressure. You have to, and rather than like, hey, this is wisdom. This would be wise for you. And so, I think they're hungering for the text because they're reading stuff that they're like, oh, I didn't learn that. No one ever told me that, They told me the popular stories.
There's a girl that this video went viral on TikTok, and she's sobbing. She has to be like 24, 25. She's sobbing in her car. She's like, why didn't anybody tell me about the gospel?
Oh, I seen that.
I lost my trash when I watched that. Because she's like, nobody just plainly laid out the gospel to me. That Jesus came, died for my sins. Well, like, that changed me. And she's sobbing because of the type of Jesus that we're presenting to people, which is why this is not a misconception, but I also am seeing it with Gen Z, now people outside of the church, because I'm in a lot of spaces where they're interested in spirituality. So they claim Jesus and crystals. They claim Jesus and tarot cards. Because the Jesus I think sometimes we present is not if we present the full Jesus in his entirety, I don't think people would be Jesus and this, Jesus and that. So you're saying they want a tangible encounter with God, but we have to present God in a way. This is all of him. And I think we're getting better at it, but seeing that video on TikTok challenged me, because this girl is just like, why didn't anybody? And that's just the gospel.
Just the gospel. That's where we begin. And
that's the starting point.
I found more, I would say, if you want to call it success, when preaching the word and teaching others, and not trying to be so flashy about it. Kind of how you're saying, presenting the Burger King style version of Jesus or the gospel with makeup on it, but I've realized that preaching the gospel in its authenticity, in its power, in just the truth of what the text says,
it's enough.
Is enough. It's actually the Bible says there's a few times in the Bible where something's explicitly called the power of God. This is the power of God, and the gospel is one of those times. Jesus is the power of God, and the message of the cross or the gospel is the power of God. So if I simply present the gospel the way that the word is presenting it to me, then it's enough. Then it's enough. People are encountering the true power of God. Now, when we think we need to add anything or I need to contribute to the power, then that's where we get into trouble. When we start putting makeup on the gospel, we start, here's Jesus as this, or here's Jesus from this lens, or we start getting into our antics. And of course, I'm not opposed to preaching in a way that people can digest and remember. But when we think we can add any power to the gospel, then we've made a big mistake. The gospel is enough. It's the power of God unto salvation. And that's where I think that, just like you're saying, Gen Z want that. I want the authentic. I want the real. I want the real power of the gospel. Don't give me the makeup. I could see through that. Don't give me the facade. I could tell if you're being real with me or not. Just give me the real. What does the Bible say about Jesus? What's the gospel? And that's what they want.
I mean, it even speaks to like our youth nights. Like we had this whole, I'm like, we're done with all the inflatables, and we're done with all like I'm just done with all of that because they don't want it. Like the students, they come,
they just stare at it.
It's like 850 deep. Students are sitting on the floor. We don't even know what to do. And all we're like, why don't we just stop the games? Like we're not putting pies in faces. We're not shaving beards and drinking goldfish anymore. We're not doing the inflatables. Like we did water slides last night because it's summer. But like that's
it's like 100
it was like the
degrees.
one time like we did all year, and it's like I think the misconception is I think some of the older generation thinks like, oh, the students come to church for like that. It's like I can tell you like the students don't want that anymore.
they
When I was in youth
don't.
ministry, I was coming because the pastor was gonna like shave his head if we got or the 500 students come into camp. Now they could care less about that. They're like, can we do more worship? Like at the end of the service, and they're like, one more song. It's like it's because they love the presence of God and they understand it. It's not just because like one more song is trendy, you know, and so like even like our community nights at youth every single Wednesday, we shipped everything back. It's a guitar and a vocalist, and they're students 90% of the time, and they're leading, and we just do worship in the round. And there's times where we'll sit there and linger there for like 35, 40 minutes, and we're supposed to get to small groups, but like they just want the presence. Like there's nothing. There's no lyrics on the wall. The LED wall is completely shut off. The lights are. It's like an acoustic guitar and a vocalist or two, and students sitting in a circle. And by the end of it, I can show you pictures. There's students like on their face, on their knees because they're just I don't know what happened. Something just like
they're
you know,
overcome
and so we're done with like I think it's like you're saying it's Jesus and so Jesus and you know crystals and tarot cards and all stuff, but also like I think the next gen is like done with Jesus and water slides and Jesus and drinking
100%.
goldfish and you know
100%.
Jesus and whatever we want to add to get people to come to church.
I really couldn't agree more. Our in our youth ministry, we just had our youth conference, and our youth pastor, Pastor Bryant, shout out Pastor Bryant, but he just felt like the Lord was telling him, get rid of the gimmicks. Get rid of the gimmicks. And it was like, are we losing something in this? But by the end of the night, they realized that those gimmicks and those games were just distractions, at least for this generation. Maybe they helped in some time in the past. Maybe, I don't know. Probably not. They probably did more harm than good. I don't know. But we're realizing now that this is what they want. They want the encounter with God. They want the worship experience. They want to receive a word. They want breakthrough. They want to be at the altar and give up their vape pens and their and you know surrender things and delete numbers off of their phone and give their life to the Lord. That's what they want. They want the real encounter with the Lord. And I'm seeing that too. I couldn't agree more with you.
Real.
I think it's cool. Like in my context, the YA ministry has kind of been the most. I don't want to say creative because it's not like let's just try things, but like. There's freedom because they are asking me to rebuild it. And what we'll do a lot of times, like I teach differently in that space because I'm seeing they crave differently, you know? And some of it's like in a response or even the aspect of like, hey, we'll just be in the round. Like for me, what I'll do a lot of times is I'm not just praying for people or I'm like, hey, let's just pause right now. I want everyone to open up. I'm going to give you a chance right now, not to shame you and be like, who's been in the Word today? Oh, you didn't? Shame, whatever. It's like, that's fine. But right now, you're about to get in the Word right now. Like literally mid-teaching, it's, hey, open the Word right now. I'm going to give you guys 2 minutes to just read the text for yourself. You and the Lord, ask the Holy Spirit to give you that, you know, in the middle of teaching. And I think what's cool is like I have seen like, oh, I'm getting more comfortable. Like there's a confidence because at first it's like,
do they want
will they
this?
do it? Yeah. If I tell them to turn to their neighbor and tell them what they need from God and what to confess, and then for that neighbor to lay a hand and pray, will they do it? And they're doing it. You know? And like I think it's been just so interesting where, you know, I could think that, I can feel that, but it's like, am I even changing how I'm doing this so that we can create more moments and spaces, not for program, but for practice of responding to the Spirit, you know? And just like honest response to the presence of what God's doing.
So you spoke like you guys do a lot of creative stuff. Like what is? Can you go into that a little bit?
Yeah. So like our prayer worship nights too. It's funny. The summer. I don't know. I'll say this. When I say a worship night, what comes to mind? Like what's that going to look
like?
like?
A big praise set, a big
music
band.
Right. So once a month on Tuesdays, we'll gather, and there's obviously music, and we're also like, I love just being in the round, like, especially at big churches. That's sometimes what people are used to. So what people are used to? And it's not bad. Don't hear me say it's bad. We got to be stewarding what God's allowed us to have. But it is fun to like, hey, no, this is just what it is. It's raw. We maybe have like a guitar or whatever, and it is what it is. And so what we'll do is like open up time, you know, we're singing through worship in that way, but then I'll go up and give a prompt, and every single prompt has a question, an invitation, and an action. So the question might be, hey, where did you just miss God today? and I'm not preaching a whole thing and whatever. Here's a scripture, and I'm just going to let the Word of God do what the Word of God does. Never falls faint. And it's like, oh, dang, like people are responding. And then the invitation might be, hey, I want to invite you to invite Holy Spirit right now. Like and I'm teaching them how to pray. Like they're craving not just to do, they're craving to be equipped.
Yeah.
And I'm giving them language for, hey, this is how to ask. Like if we got the Spirit of God dwelling within us, that means He empowers us, equips us to tap in a little bit.
Yeah.
And so like I'm teaching them that. And then the challenge is like, hey, right now, and let's say I've done things where it's like, I want you to delete a phone number. Yeah. I want you to, hey, we're talking about discipleship. Who has had that in your life? I want you to send them a text of gratitude right now.
It's cool.
So there's these moments for this, but in that sequence, that's like one prayer prompt, and I'll do that like 2-3 times, sprinkled in throughout a few of just the worship sets. Now the cool thing is like we've been doing this for the last year and a half. This summer, we had a girl come in. There was for sure some demonic oppression. Like she was like coming for me too, and I have these baby Christians come up to me like, Vivi, is she okay? I was like, yeah. 1 of 3 things I think is happening. Either 1, there's some demonic oppression. 2, she's on something, or 3, like there's maybe like a personality thing that I'm just not aware of, you know? And so we're just going to ride the wave and see what comes up. So I chat with her and I'm like, oh, there's for sure something there. And what I love is I have these 2 baby Christians, been following Jesus for the last 3 months. Like, hey, we're ready. Just teach us what to say. And what I love is I'm like, we're talking about demonic oppression and no one's freaking out or being weird about it. It's like, great, let's rebuke, let's renounce, and let's disciple. Yeah. And I love because one of the girls at the end of the night goes, I know at these nights we pray over each other. I just didn't expect to pray like that. But I'm like, there's nothing. I even love that there's not all this weird hype about it either.
Right.
It's just what we do.
Right.
So I don't know. That's been like, I've never done ministry like that other than probably the last 3 years. And it's been really, so yeah, that's kind of the stuff that I've gotten a little creative with. And not out of the brain of Vivi Diaz, but I'm like watching like, well, what if we did that? This is what I know, but why do we do that? What if we did it different and let's see what God does?
That's so great.
To piggyback off of that, I did some ministry work a few years back in London, and the people that I was with, they talked to the senior pastors, and I ended up teaching at their young adult or their youth service that Sunday. So they're in a movie theater. I walk in, and there's probably like 400, 500 kids in this movie theater. So I'm like, oh my gosh, what'd I get myself into?
Yeah.
So I'm sitting there praying in tongues in my head in the back, like, Lord, give me a word because I don't have anything. But during worship, all you see is a flood of students go down to the bottom and stand in this line. And their pastor was like, okay, this is our prophetic time. If you feel, open up your Bibles. If you feel like the Lord's leading to a scripture or through the song, somebody popped up in your head or there's been a verse lingering on your heart, I want you to profess it, in this room. So I'm 12, 13, 14-year-old kids being taught how to hear the voice of God. And you could tell this is something that they did.
Right.
It wasn't a one-off thing, but that's what they want. And I would talk to students afterwards. They're like, yeah, these are our favorite moments because we get to exercise hearing the voice of God and then speaking it over people.
I didn't exercise.
Yes.
That's good.
So we're equipping these people. They've been equipped to not only hear the voice of God, but to speak it out and have that confidence. Like I'm not getting that till I was 17, 18 years old. You know what I'm saying? So they want that.
And it's crazy how that leaks outside of the church. Like we had a moment at youth where we just shut everything down. We even turned the music off. I'm like, hey, you're just praying for the person next to you. And, we've kind of done some of that at youth, but it was a moment where it's like, hey, band, you're done. Like, let's just go. And the students didn't stop. Like the volume of the room kept getting louder and louder and louder. And I'm looking, I'm like, are they talking? And it's like, no, they're laying hands. I'm hearing like kids speaking in tongues. I'm like, this is crazy. And that's not even like the context of like our church. And so to see students operating that, I'm like, dang, who taught you that? Like, I know the students that roll with me.
They
went to Bay Tree.
They went to the way. If they're casting something out, it's from the way.
That's all
And so they're there.
We're charismatic with training wheels.
You with training wheels. Yeah, I mean, I know the students that roll with me. They're in my house. They're hanging out. I'm like, okay, I know. But it wasn't even those kids. So I'm watching them. They're praying. They're doing this, and like, so that's cool. That's great. I have a huge heart for campus clubs and like high school ministry, like on high school campuses. And so we've been kind of crushing that the last like year and a half, 2 years. Our team, not me, but like the students. And so after this girl, she got saved on Wednesday night, and then the next day on Thursday, a student who I'm cool with sent me a picture and said, hey, this is my friend, this is her name. And I feel like, God is telling me like this about her and this about her. So it was like she's telling me the prophetic word about her. And then boom, it's a picture. And she's in the quad laying hands on a girl and praying in the middle. And she got like saved yesterday.
Come on.
She got saved yesterday.
Wow.
She had to pray for somebody in
Love
service
it.
because we said you're praying for the person next to you. And then she carried that same thing out the next day on her high school campus. So it's like beautiful because it's like the quad at Glendora High School. And you see there's hundreds of students in the middle of their lunch. And she has a hand on her head and she's just like praying for it because that's like what she was taught.
I love it.
And that's all she
Wow.
like knows. She's
And
like,
not
I got
just
I love
at
it.
youth group on Wednesday night.
Yes.
Right.
In their context.
This is Thursday morning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen that 100%, like this
Yeah.
fearlessness
Yeah.
from this generation.
Yeah.
They believe it.
Yeah.
They believe the word.
Yeah.
100%. They're going to walk in it. We had some of our young adults. It's crazy what we do, but San Bernardino, we know obviously is a lot of gang violence, a lot of prostitutes on the street. So after our Friday services, we have scheduled actually this Friday as well, and once a month we go to Baseline in San Bernardino. If you know Baseline, anytime after even during the day, but anytime after 9 p.m. on a Friday night, it's just, you don't go there for nothing. Everything's closed. The only people are there. You're either going to get drugs, you're either going to pick up a prostitute, or you're strung out. So they'll take a team of people. So the last time we did this, we said, we're gonna take a team of people. If you want to come, you can. You're going to be with the group of us, so you don't have to worry about what's going to happen. And they made a call to take a team out there, and it was literally like the entire group, it seemed like it, pulled up on the dark corner in Baseline and like G Street or something. And it was probably 80 young adults were out there. It looked like a protest. They had Jesus signs.
Wow.
They were out there with the guitar worshiping, broke off into groups. They were witnessing to anybody they found just in the streets. Totally fearless.
Yeah.
And this is not stuff that you just, no average person is doing
Yeah.
that.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm even like, okay,
Yeah.
are we sure? You guys want to do this? I'll do it. I'm not going to sit in the
For
back.
sure.
But there's totally fearless. Like, let's take what God has given us
Yeah.
and let's take it to the darkest corners of the streets.
Yeah.
And let's pray for people. Let's love them.
Yeah.
So things like that, praying in the quad, or totally just, praying, laying hands on each other in the middle of service, or going out and outreaches and outreaching and preaching the gospel.
Yeah.
This generation is totally fearless. And if we really believe that as leaders, if we really see that, then we can really pour into them and believe in the best for them. They
good.
can
That's
do. They
That's
can minister the gospel. They
Yeah.
can teach the word. They can lay hands on the sick and they be healed. They can do those things.
Yeah.
And and maybe the older generations have had maybe that stigma, like these kids are just here for this, that, and the
Right.
other. But now we need to shift our mentality about
good.
about the younger generation coming up and believe that God will use them
Yeah.
to do great things in whatever circles they're in.
Yeah.
You know what
good.
I
Yeah.
noticed too on that like same thought is it's leaking. We talk about how the older generation views the younger generation, but I think there is something shifting where there are young people leading up and inspiring
Oh,
the older.
yeah.
Like, I see parents being saved. Like the girl I told you about, she was Muslim.
Yeah.
Her
Right.
family's coming to church now. And where I've seen it in the same context of the classroom is before it would be like, hey, we're gonna start a Christian club, and legally you need 12 students to start any club on a campus, and a teacher to like sign off on it for like,
Right.
the classroom. And nobody wanted to be the teacher that hosted the Christian club. Like now, it's like teachers are popping up, raising their hand, and be like, I want to do it this year. I want to be
Right.
the club leader this year.
Right.
And there was a story that school started this week, and the teachers met in the quad that wanted to, and they prayed over the school before school started. And so
Right.
like
That's
the
cool.
faith of the
Students.
older
generation,
generation
right, is
is
increasing.
being influenced by the
Right.
students, and because they're like, well, I guess I want to be a part of it.
Yeah.
If the small group started as 4 kids and now we're 180 in the gym, well, of course you want to be a part of
Yeah,
it. And all of
for
a sudden
sure.
you're a little bolder with your faith, but they're seeing the faith of the next generation. They're like,
That's
I
so
want to
good.
do that. I want to be a
That's
part
so
of that.
good.
I want to and so now there's
Yeah.
no longer this like scarlet letter of
Right.
like, well, you're
Yeah.
the Christian.
Right.
Like, dude, the teachers, they come to our church and they're like, they link up and like they sit with their
Yeah.
students, and so like now it's a safe space on their
Right.
campus. And
Yeah.
Well,
I love the.
That's why the Bible says that. Don't let anyone despise you because of your youth.
Yeah.
And it also says be an example
For sure.
in your faith and the
Yeah.
way you walk. and we're seeing that. That's just a great example of that scripture coming to life.
Yeah, and like literally, it's funny that started to happen because a year ago I had a dream. I get dreams, but the Lord pretty much said that like high schools were going to become holy ground, classrooms are going to become altars, teachers are beginning to become disciplers, and students become missionaries, evangelists, teachers, and prophets in the classroom context. So to go from 0 relationships with high schools, and then in a year for us to have a relationship with 11 high schools, like that happened, and now
awesome.
like our ministry is growing, obviously because we're evangelizing outside. But I've noticed this too, is like we reach way more students outside of our church than we do in it.
Inside
Wow.
church, yeah.
And I'm like, how many
Yeah.
adults now are we reaching? Because they'll come to like a campus worship night, but like they wouldn't want to be seen at church.
Right,
Right.
And so like I'm thinking about like, we could talk about all day long about the problem with Gen Z and the things that they need to fix and how the older generation might look down at them. But then also like the plus is like, what is Gen Z doing to influence the generations above?
Yes.
Yeah, man, that's it. Because then it like sparks something in me to be more bold.
Yeah.
It sparks something in me. Like I wasn't like the biggest evangelism person. I'm like, bro, I got social media. I'll just post on TikTok. But now I'm like, if you guys love Bryce Crawford, then like I guess I'll go on the street with you and like hold a picket fence sign and go talk
to someone.
Yeah, like, I don't know, like, Jesus loves you. I don't know, bro. I'll do whatever I got to do if that's what you guys want to do.
it.
You know what I'm saying? So, I mean,
Yeah.
I'm so inspired and I'm encouraged by like
that.
how the way they're moving, the things they're doing.
Love it.
Hey, last statement over here from the booth.
It's just never not going to be funny.
I know. No, I wanted to tap because we're about to finish, but I wanted to tap in the reason and purpose why we're here, right?
Yeah.
So we have
Wait, why are we here?
on September 5th.
I thought we were just having a coffee.
Yeah.
We all just
on
met.
September 5th, we're going to have a collaborative event called YA and Friends. By the time this comes out, that will be posted. I think one of the things I love, and then not everyone has to share, but we could also just briefly, one of the values I have both with younger millennial and even millennial, Gen Z, and I think the generations to come, is the value of collaboration.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Collaboration is like second nature. It's like breathing. Where maybe probably I would say like 10, 15, 20 years before this, to have all you guys sitting around a table, right?
Yeah.
To do that, it's like, no, like we would have to agree on everything to collaborate. Even in our own churches, sometimes it's hard. But right now, we have 4 different churches sitting around the table. We're going to gather together, really about showcasing the name of Jesus, seeing people saved, right? Healed, delivered, set free, plug back into the church. Because we know that when someone else wins, we all win.
That's right.
And so I think like maybe just talk a little bit about for people listening, September 5th is YA and Friends. We have all those around the table, plus a good friend, Ryan Ellis, who's a worship artist, incredible artist, who's going to be leading worship. Talk about the value of collaboration and even the purpose of being like, why did you feel excited about something like this? Man, of course I want to do it. What brings a value for that, as well as even in Gen Z? Why do they love that collaboration?
Oof. I'll go. I mean, so right after high school, I moved to Argentina, and I lived out there for a year, came back, and I think what's so cool is whenever you get to go out of the city you were born in, whether that's overseas or out of your state, whatever, you get to remember in a very tangible, explicit way, the world is big. And what I love is, like, God has a heart for the nations, not just for the IE, not just for Riverside, not just for California, but the nations. And God is going to use every ounce of his glory in its unique context for the sake of reaching every tongue, tribe, and nation, And so for me, when I think of, but what does that actually look like? It looks like sometimes just saying yes and trusting the Holy Spirit to like be the one to unify. Like literally, we talked on the phone. I'm showing up. I'm like, never met you in person. We see each other maybe once every couple years. Never met you. And I just am like, this is it.
Yeah.
I'm like, And I think what's so cool for like the collaboration piece is it's okay to have preferences, but not if it's going to compete with your value or heart for unity. Yeah. Like the very last thing that Jesus prays over the disciples, that we may be one.
Yeah.
Not that we may be right, but we may be one. And this is how it's done. And it's not trusting our strategy or whatever to make that happen. It's trusting the presence and the working spirit to do that. So when you hit me up and we're like, hey, I'm like, yeah, I love that. Like, and I even love, I can't remember if we were recording already, but you said, this isn't just another organization, and that's not bad, but I think it's something really beautiful to see the local church coming together as the local church to put the church on display. Yeah, and I'm like, I don't even need to know all the details. I mean, obviously there's nothing heretical. I check the websites. But like, I mean, clearly I'm fired up. I'm like, it's good stuff.
Yeah, and I'll just tap in, and then anyone could go. This isn't just a unity for unity's sake.
Yeah.
Right.
We've had a lot of those. This is unity. We're going to unite, unto seeing people saved,
Yeah.
discipled,
Yeah.
and plugged into their
Yeah,
calling.
yeah.
And I think that's what's really cool about seeing multiple churches coming together, and it's just the beginning. But
that's what I'm really excited about. I really feel like that this is just in my prayers, just praying for the night, thinking about the night. I really feel like this is a night of so much value that people are going to leave with. Just so much encounter, so much equipping that's going to take place on these nights. I really believe, at least from what the Lord has been speaking to me, that this will be a night where we will equip the younger body to go out in whatever spaces there are, to do all that God has called them to do, to be bold about the gospel, to be unrelenting about whatever it is that, whatever mission that God has put them in. I believe, I don't know if this is a plug or not, but the plug is this: you will get value from these nights, 100%. You will gain value.
Yeah.
You will grow. You will be equipped. You will not leave disappointed.
Come on.
You're going to get something, so
That's right.
show up.
Yeah.
I think something that is, so special to me, which I guess started from like a heartbreak, was I started in youth ministry and then started the young adult ministry. I was doing creative stuff early on. And so when I went back into youth ministry 2 years ago, I was like, okay, for the longest time, like, I feel like the church around me, at least, SGV, I haven't really tapped too much into IE, but it was just so disunified. And I have friends in like Arizona or friends in Florida and like different parts of the United States where like it's them and all the youth pastor friends hang out. And I'm like, how are you guys friends? Because over here, youth pastors don't talk to each other. And so when I stepped back into youth ministry, I sent about like 18 emails to youth pastors around small church, even to like, churches our size. I didn't get a single response back.
Wow.
And that didn't speak to like the disunity of like the local body. And so like that broke my heart when I'm like, I'm trying to be best friends with everyone, but I'm like, okay, if we're going to do this thing and we're going to take ground, and there's high schools that are untapped, and like there's, how many students there are in our area. Like even if we had 1,500 on a night, that there's still thousands of students out there that can be reached and saved and need to be
100%.
discipled. And so it broke my heart to see like there was so much disunity, and it stems from like this person at a church, this person moral failure goes to a different church, and this person doesn't like this person, and they work there now, and all these things start happening where people just don't like each other, and I'm like, but like this is the bride of Christ, like this is the body, and so it just broke my heart. So then to just see, like, never in my life would I thought like one and all in sandals are going to do something. I didn't, like, that was never a thing, and so the funny thing is my senior pastor said, hey, we're going to start doing some stuff with young adults, and it's not like our ministry, it's like a movement, and if God's really on this, I really see him partnering with like churches around us, and I'm like, well, good luck, bro, because I sent 18 emails, I got no response back, so this is literally like the fruition of like a prophetic statement that my senior pastor told me in private, of like, hey, we're going to have to start unifying with churches around us, so you got to do your best to do that, and I'm like, I tried, and I kind of gave up on it. So then Sammy hits me up, talks to me about it. I'm at the ARC thing with you guys, and you pitch this idea, and I'm like, wait a minute, so the fact that one, it was spoken about by my senior pastor before we even spoke about it, I think is one thing. So like that's for me, that's how I know God's on it. So you're talking to me, I'm like, yeah, let's do it. And the second is just like, I think some of our greatest vision comes from our greatest frustration, and the frustration was like, where's the unity in the body? Like, where's the unity in the church? And this area, so like you said, so untapped, and the IE needs more churches, and the SGV and San Bernardino, like we like, it needs more churches, more church planters, more everything. And I just feel like nights like this could be the opportunity where the 22-year-old walks in, gets a vision for their life to be a church planter, or 22 years old gets a vision to be a missionary or evangelist, whatever it is. And so I'm hoping that as we unify, I think like the presence of God would be so much more tangible. I just think there's something about everyone coming together.
Beautiful.
So thank you.
And it's a display that like we're all on the same team.
Right. For sure.
We have the same enemy.
Come on.
We're fighting the same fight.
Yeah.
And if the church wants people who come into these spaces to be unified, but we don't show it from the top up. So I think it's like, hey, you see all these churches coming together with the same mission. Y'all could do that. This person might go to another church. This person might look differently, but we're all on the same team. And I think it just needs to start at the top. And so I'm excited. Shout out to Sammy. I'm excited for this thing. It's going to be dope.
Shout out to the Lord.
Right?
I'm in the booth. God's voice.
In the booth.
Also,
Hey,
props
thank
to
you for
Pastoral.
thank you.
Yeah,
Like,
no, absolutely.
I honestly, like, I think some of the first times I started connecting with some local pastors was because of you.
Yeah.
I don't remember how we met, but I remember meeting other pastors because you would connect us. You would say, hey, I want to get lunch. I want to connect you with so-and-so.
Yeah.
And I'm showing up to lunch thinking, what's the motive? What are we doing?
Yeah.
And it was just lunch.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, this is a real relationship, and
Yeah.
I have a relationship with them to this day because that's the kind of heart that you have. So
Yeah.
you've done
Thank
a
you,
great
bro.
job at that.
Yeah. Thank you, man. I think for us, and to clarify, like, we don't have a young adult ministry, so it's been really great to hear. And it's because it's come rooted from part of my conviction, but also I did a really early transition. So I senior pastor the church, but I'm also the young adult pastor because the young adults receive from the young adult pastor
right.
every
Right.
Sunday. So our response is our young adult ministry meets Sundays at 9 and 11 a.m.
Yeah.
You know,
Good.
Love
but
that.
but that's because I'm 35 years old, you know, leading all of our campuses and our congregation. So, and we knew that. And I started taking over, you know, over 7 years ago. So we felt like 8 years ago we needed to sunset our young adult ministry because we needed our young adults to like literally ingrain. If I'm gonna survive as the senior pastor at a young age, our young people have to be like in our congregation.
Yeah.
I'm not someone in their late 40s, 50s, or even 60s who's, you know, needing a young adult pastor to kind of carry that heart. It's like, well, I have it. And then I have a lot of people who are like first generation students of mine, like Chelsea, who are like still in the church in there. So they can translate, you know, all of those things. So I think that like when me and Sammy first started talking about this, I was like, okay, I think that would work for us because we don't have a young adult ministry. So there's not like, hey, and if you really like us, come see us Friday or come
Right.
see us Tuesday.
Yeah.
Not that would be wrong.
Right.
You guys host anything, we're there, you know,
Right.
but it's we have somewhat of a neutrality, specifically in young adult ministry that says there's nothing necessary. We kind of do something once a quarter, but it's at one of our campuses. It's not hosted here. It's not glitz and glamour. It's just kind of like what you said. It's a space where we like promote small groups half the time and then send them out. But it's worked well. We started doing it post COVID, but before COVID, we didn't do anything for like 5 years. And so when Sammy said that, I'm like, okay, I think, because the first question is always like, oh, okay, what will a senior pastor feel about that? You know, and that's always our first question and concern. But then it was also like, okay, I just in January I just did something. Is my son in here?
Yeah.
Did he just yawn? I'm boring you with ice. Yeah. But in January, I just did something with your pastor. We actually did a tag team thing, which is where we first got this level of an idea. We wanted to do something. Sammy pitched, you know, doing this united front and like who would we have preach. But then in January, we were at me and Vivi, your pastor, Pastor Matt, was asked to do something down in Orange County. And when I was asked to do it, I was kind of like, I would do anything for Mark Francie. And then he said, like, you're tag teaming, you know, with a bunch of guys. And I thought, oh, man, I'm on B team. You know, like, you're going to have these guys that are preaching the main sermon for 40 minutes. And then there's me with 7 minutes. And then, like, who am I going to be with? You know, I'm on B team, you know, and then I show up. And it's like, there's Pastor Matt, there's Josiah, there's like all these legends. And we've all been given like 7 minutes. And I'm like, oh, you're taking like some of the best kind of preachers in the area, and you're like giving them 7 minutes to absolutely destroy, you know? And it was like, I'd never seen that before, like that level of communicators have such a limited time, but just there was 7 of us or something like that. And so it was just like, you know, you go from me to, or however the order was, but it's like me, Pastor Matt, and then you have Josiah, and then you have this pastor, and then you have that pastor. And these are all guys that are just like on their own could carry not only just one sermon, but a multitude and a healing night and all these other things. And they're just like, I was like, dang, that was powerful. And then that's when I had the thought, well, what if you take some of the best young adult pastors in the region and just have them absolutely destroy? So then that's when I tap back in with Sammy, like, bro, I think we have it. I think we get some of the best young adult ministries in the region that are actually like crushing it at young adult ministry, because we're not. But that's not part of our current conviction and ethos, and we're doing something different with our young adults. But it's like, but if we have a heart but our youth ministry is crushing it. But specifically that young adult ministry area is like, okay, well, what if we hosted a night, and then the same way I got to be, and then I just got to do something like a month ago with your pastor with Christian at San Bernardino thing. So it's like you're starting to see senior pastors working together.
Right.
And I think that's why there's now permission.
Right.
Because I think when you first started in youth ministry, there would be no senior pastors collaborating, partnering. And so when a senior pastor would come and be like, oh, host something for the region. It's like, well, I can't get a youth pastor to call because that guy's pastor
Right.
isn't talking to you, you know,
Right.
and so y'all don't really have relationship. Whereas like back in the day with Christian, when we started talking, I'm like, it was one of the things my dad kind of started to do, but then we've just amplified is like this absolute no ego, church political neutrality that tries to partner as best as we can with anyone and everyone. And so then it's like where you and another pastor to the pastors may have seen like competition, but our church wasn't. So then I'm like, hey, you're going to lunch with Christian because they're like, I see the fruit of where they're headed, and now you're obviously living in it. But back then it would have been your church was in a small campus with a few young adults. Now it's like one of the largest young adult ministries in the IE. So, but at that time it wasn't. And it was like that, hey, just ego to the side. I think senior pastors are realizing just church in whole can't be healthy and fruitful unless there's relationship, partnership, and everybody's attempting it in their own way. You know, but it's very rare nowadays. I see you're seeing more and more from senior and lead pastors that kind of like competitiveness and all this stuff, and a lot of them are going into multi-site, so they're realizing, well, I have to be relational because if I go in a city and we have animosity, then it's like you could shut the door on me, you know, and all these things like that. And so there's an awareness of like, okay, we got to have relationship, but I think it's kind of our responsibility then to say, okay, let's take that further. You know, what our senior leaders have desired and desiring, but probably we're a little bit behind the 8 ball in actualizing that. To a degree, like everybody has their own circles and networks and all that stuff. But, you know, when we look at regional, that's different, you know, because when I got into ministry, I'm like, I'd ask my dad, oh, do you do relationships? Like, of course we do relationship. Of course I have relationship. I got this guy in Oklahoma and I have this guy in Texas and there's this guy in Northern California. And then I have my one pastor that's in San Bernardino, but then everyone else, it's kind of like, yeah, we shake each other's hands, we keep moving. So I'm like, well, that's not relational. You guys are, you know, you're thousands of miles away from each other. Like you can't help each other out with anything. And I think that has slowly died off, and each church does stuff. You guys just hosted an ARC one day, you know, last year, and you know, the Way is always hosting things that people come and be a part of, and everything like that. You're doing consistent young adult ministry that our young adults are finding a great place, and to me, I go like, oh, I love that. You know, like whenever I see that stuff, I'm just like, oh, I love that stuff. Go, do it, whatever. Even if I lose you, then there was just something that you needed to thrive in that season. Now, if you did it out of because we disciplined you and you're running away, then we got to address that. But if it's just like, hey, Pastor Adam, this is the season I'm in, then I go, oh, that's great. My goal for the sheep God has entrusted me care is for them to thrive. So whether they thrive under my covering or someone else's covering, I am just a steward to the ultimate good shepherd. So it's just, as long as you're being shepherded by the good shepherd, then I don't care where that takes place, as long as it is, like you said, Vivi, as long as it's not heresy and things being taught, then I have to pastor you and help you out of that thing. But for the most part, all our churches in the region that are like healthy and thriving and growing, there's not any that are really like of concern that I'd have any concern with any of my people going to, you know. I think when we set that example and we make that statement, then it's even harder for the next generation to jump ship. Because they're like,
because we're calling each other.
They're like, how could I jump ship? Because I have people, because the people know we have relationship with the Way and stuff. We'll have people come and visit, and right away they'll just be like, hi, you might recognize me from a thing you did, and we're just here visiting. And like they get scared because they're like, I know you know my pastor, and I know that you know it's just more of a soberness. That like the more we do things together or partner, from senior pastors, young adult pastors, youth pastors, it's like then what happens is we're setting an example to the next generation say, it's very hard for you to run somewhere that you aren't going to be known, that you aren't going to be recognized, and you know, you want to go to One and All and you thrive here, I'll make a call. I'm happy to make a call out and be like, I love this person. But also, you know that, I mean, I'm not going to make a call and say, make your life miserable, but it will be, if they ask me, if you start to try to serve there and you say you're from Patria, and they ask someone on our team, do they know who you are? Like, we're going to say, they think they're running from something right now. I think, you know, or I love them. Dude, you know, take them through your process, but dude, they did great here. They just moved or whatever. They're closer to you, or they just got married and you guys got this ministry and I'm so happy they're doing that. You know, I think doing this is one of those examples that continually shows that, while everybody's church and ministries is attempting to do what they feel led to do right now, but to show that unity, because then the next generation just sees that and they just go, okay,
This is what we do.
yeah, this is what we do, you know.
Yeah.
And I do that in all areas of my life, you know, because I grew up youth ministry. It was like gang territories. You know, you had your young adult ministry, youth ministry. You don't ride with no one else. You don't, you know. And if you run into your pastor's a better preacher and all. It's just you have better everything.
My pastor will beat up your pastor.
Exactly. Yeah, it's that type of thing, right? But you know, it seems to be diminishing. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Y'all, thank you so much for being here. It means the world.
Thanks.
Thank you guys for taking the time.
Honored.
And
Thanks for having us.
you know, we really appreciate it. And you know, we'll connect more offline. But this truly has been a fun episode. We've been looking forward to it. So thank you guys for all being available. Like Sammy said, we didn't think all y'all would be available, but you made it a bit.
Thank you,
Which
guys.
I mean,
I love
hopefully
y'all.
that shows people too that how important that is. That we just expected one or two would be like, yeah, I'll make some time for the podcast. But you all came. Some of y'all are driving further than others. So we definitely appreciate it. All right, y'all. Thanks for joining us. Don't forget, get on them socials. Check all the everybody gonna be clipped. So just go check them out
sir.
today. All right, y'all. Peace.
Peace.